Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture for the course Applied Thermodynamics. Today we will continue with the reciprocating air compressor. Under that we will see some points in that actual indicator diagrams. We will see that. Myself Sumit Bardia, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering at Rao. In the today's lecture we will see actual indicator diagram, efficiency of compressor, how to increase isothermal efficiency, free air delivered, that is FAD, and displacement, control of compressors. Actual indicator diagram, that is also called as PV diagram, for two stage. We are already seen about the single stage. Now we are going to see the two stage actual PV or indicator diagram. The actual indicator diagram for the two stage compressor is shown in this figure. The wavy lines here, the wavy lines during induction and delivery strokes are due to flatter of the disc walls. The low pressure and high pressure diagrams overlap due to the pressure drop in the intercooler. And clearance effects are plainly visible in the actual indicator diagram. The inertia and friction effects which results in wall flatter increase the area of the diagram slightly, and hence their effect is to increase the total work of compression. Now here the pressure level, atmospheric pressure here, and here the disc pressure or the pressure drop is there here. So that is actual indicator diagram for the two stage. Now next is efficiency of compressor. The theoretical horsepower of a compressor is calculated on the assumption that the compression curve on PV diagram is an isothermal. Then isothermal work done per cycle is nothing but area PV diagram. Area PV diagram. So that is nothing but P1 V1 log R to the base E. Similarly, isothermal power is nothing but P1 V1 log R to the base E multiplied by N divided by 60 into 1000, that is in kilowatt. In MKS units, isothermal horsepower is nothing but P1 V1 log to the base E R multiplied by N divided by 4500. We know that N is nothing but number of cycles per minute, RPM. Now the indicated power of compressor is the power obtained from the actual indicator taken during a test on the compressor. So compressor efficiency will be isothermal horsepower to the indicated horsepower. And then isothermal efficiency is isothermal horsepower to the shaft horsepower. Now where shaft horsepower is nothing but brake horsepower required to drive the compressor. Generally the isothermal efficiency is about 70%. The adiabatic efficiency of an air compressor is the ratio of horsepower required to drive the compressor compared with the area of the indicator diagram, assuming adiabatic compression. So adiabatic efficiency will be gamma upon gamma minus 1 P1 V1 P2 by P1 raised to gamma minus 1 upon gamma minus 1 multiplied by N by 4500 divided by the whole divided by brake horsepower required to drive the compressor. So that is about the efficiency of a compressor that we need to take care about while calculation efficiency, that may be compressor or isothermal efficiency or adiabatic efficiency. Now, how to increase the isothermal efficiency? There are some methods to increase isothermal efficiency to achieve nearly isothermal compression for high speed compression. First one is spray injection. This method we are using some years ago is nothing but assimilates the practice of injecting water into the compressor cylinder towards the compression stroke with the object of cooling the air. Now there are some disadvantages of spray injection, that is, it necessitates the use of special gear for injection. The injected water interferes with the cylinder lubrication and attacks cylinder walls and valves. And one more, that is, water mixed with the air should be separated before using the air. So that these are the disadvantages if we are spraying water inside the cylinder or in the compressor. Next is water jacketing. It consists in circulating water around the cylinder through the water jackets, which helps to cool the air during compression. This method is commonly used in all type of reciprocating air compressor. Third method is intercooling. When the speed of the compressor is high and pressure ratio required is also high with single stage compression, water jacketing proves to be less effective. The use of intercooling is restored to in addition to the water jacketing by dividing the compression into 2 or more stages. The air compressed in the first stage is cooled in an intercooler to its original temperature before passing it to the second stage. Okay, so that is the main part, intercooling or intercooler. So whenever the compressor speed and pressure ratio required is high, we need to go for intercooling as well as multi-stage compression. Next is external fins. Now the small capacity air compressors can be effectively cooled by using fins on their external surfaces. The function of fins are to increase the heat transfer rate through convection. The last one is a method to increase the isothermal efficiency is by a suitable choice of cylinder proportions. By providing a short stroke and a large bore in conjunction with the sleeve walls, a much greater surface is available for cooling. And the surface of the cylinder head is far more effective in this respect than the surface of the barrel. Because the periodic motion of the piston does not allow the barrel to be exposed to the air for the sufficient time for heat to flow away. Moreover, the air is compressed against the cylinder cover. Unfortunately, clearance increases as the square of the bore, but in the Broom-Wade compressor, this increase is compensated for by the mechanically operated valve. So these are the methods which are going to increase the isothermal efficiency. One more, mechanical efficiency, that is nothing but a ratio of mechanical output to the mechanical input. So mechanical efficiency will be indicated horsepower of the compressor to the shaft horsepower. That will give you the mechanical efficiency, that we need to understand or remember. Next is about the free air delivered. Commonly it is asked in the question paper. Many question papers they are asked about the free air delivered, that is FAD and displacement. Now what is free air delivered? Now FAD is the actual volume delivered at the static pressure reduced to intake temperature and pressure, and that is expressed in meter cube per minute. And the displacement is the actual volume in meter cube per minute swept out per minute by the low pressure piston during the suction stroke. Now the free air delivered per minute is less than the displacement of the compressor. There are certain reasons of it. First one is fluid resistance through the air intake and walls prevents the cylinder being fully charged with the air at atmospheric conditions. Second, on entering the hot cylinder, the air expands so that the mass of air present is reduced in the ratio, that is, the ratio is absolute atmospheric temperature to the absolute temperature of the air inside the cylinder. Okay. Now third one is the high pressure air trapped in the clearance space must expand to a pressure below atmospheric before the automatic suction valves can open. A portion of the suction stroke is therefore wasted in effecting this expansion. Okay, and the last one is a certain loss is caused by the leakage. So leakage again leads towards loss. So that is about the free air delivered and displacement. Okay, so these are the four reasons which leads towards free air delivered is less. Next is control of compressors. Compressor control may be carried out in many different ways depending on the circumstances in which they are going to be used. For example, first one, a compressor directly driven by the steam engine may be controlled by the combined centrifugal governor and on the steam engine and an air pressure regulator. The control consisting in an adjustment of the speed to suit the load. The mechanism operates either the steam throttle or varies the cutoff. This is suitable where the prime mover may be run at reduced speeds without too great drop in efficiency. Second is where the drive is by means of electrical motors. It will usually be necessary to keep the speed constant. It may be inevitable with the synchronous motors, and then some unloading device may be used to blow low pressure air off to the atmosphere. Now by artificially obstructing the low pressure intake and thus lowering the intake pressure in addition to the mass aspired, the temperature of the delivery may be raised to a dangerous value to a high pressure ratio, and this method is therefore not to be recommended. So we are not using this method. Third method is to provide a variable clearance control because it affords some control over the volumetric efficiency. This is achieved by having air pockets adjacent to the cylinder which are brought into communication with the cylinder by automatic operated valves. Next one is actually with mechanically operated valves, it is usual to hold the suction valve open for part of the compression stroke. So this is another ways to control the compressors. In many cases, a combination of these methods controls may actually be used. So combination also we can use. Okay, we'll stop here. We will continue with the reciprocating compressor and we'll solve some numericals on it. Thank you.